Healthy masculine men do not want their woman to go to work. They do not want a woman to have to masculinize herself, to have that responsibility of working, draining herself, feeling like she needs to continue working, because if she doesn't, then everything is going to fall apart. Healthy masculine men want to financially provide for a woman, to ease her burdens, to make her life a lot easier, to ensure that she can remain feminine, so that she can remain soft. And in this video, we're going to talk about why masculine men want this, why this is so important to them, why they will be proactively leading towards this outcome, why emasculated men typically don't want this. They want their woman to be a working woman, and the problems that that will cause for you if you ever find yourself in that situation, or if you are in that situation. And we'll also talk a little bit about some specific polarity issues as far as whether you would like to continue working, whether that is going to interfere with the polarity, whether that is going to turn a man off if he is really masculine. And before we get into it, I am going to introduce myself. My name is Zach Rohde. I am here to lead you into creating the relationship of your dreams, using your feminine energy and what I call feminine communication to inspire a man into cherishing you. What I am teaching you on this video and in all of my videos is what I teach my academy students who have experienced incredible transformations, going from perpetually single into loving devotional relationships, and women who are already in relationships that are somewhat dysfunctional, and we turn those relationships around too. Polarity is the answer to getting the relationship of your dreams. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, make sure you do that below, hit the notification bell, and of course be sure to like this video, because I'm going to make sure it's a good one for you. Okay, so masculine men want to take care of a woman. They want to provide for her. This is what feels good. And we're going to talk about instincts for a moment. So when a woman's instinct is online, her feminine instinct, at least somewhat online, she's going to like the idea of being financially provided for. Now, a woman might still want to work for herself, but she enjoys the idea of a man who wants to provide for her, who makes her life financially easier, where she doesn't have the responsibility to work, right? So imagine if you might be married right now, but if you're not, imagine you're married to a man and you've got a family and he's fully providing for you. And maybe you choose to work, but you don't have to, because he's taking that responsibility. He's capable of fully providing for you. So now work becomes a choice rather than an obligation where you have to continue doing it to keep it together. That's not going to feel good for a woman. Responsibility in general, when it's all on you, when it feels like it's all on you, that does not feel good for a woman, for the feminine. And I shouldn't even say that. Women who have a lot of wounding, it might feel good, because you might feel a sense of pride, or feel worthy in some kind of way having those responsibilities. But the more that you heal, the more that you shift into your feminine energy, the more that your feminine self-worth comes online, the more that you don't like that responsibility, the more aversion that you have to it. So healthy masculine men, on the other hand, they like responsibility. So in my relationship, for example, with my wife, I enjoy being responsible for taking care of her. I am the sole provider. It all falls on me. She's not working. She used to. She worked in corporate for years. Very intelligent woman, a very capable woman, actually an excellent leader as well. And now she doesn't work at all. And she takes care of our daughter. And I fully provide. And I love that it all is on me. It feels good to have that responsibility, because it's something that I get to do for her, to take away that burden. Masculine men, if you ask, 100 men, let's say, I don't know of those 100 men how many would actually be considered masculine, but I can tell you all the ones that are masculine are going to say, yeah, I want to do that for my woman, or I am doing that for my woman, and I love it. A man who is emasculated, and just so you know, men who say they want that, they could still be quite emasculated. But men who are emasculated, if a man says that he does not want to financially provide for his woman, he doesn't enjoy being a sole provider. He doesn't want to take on that responsibility. He's definitely emasculated. There's no other possible option. He is an emasculated man. His masculine instinct is not fully online. It is suppressed in some kind of way. And he wants a woman to be in her masculine. When I met my wife, I was that man. Okay? I was a man that was a Peter Pan who had not fully grown up, who was basically looking for a roommate that I could sleep with and have fun talking to and to split bills with. That's an emasculated man. My instinct to provide, to protect, to cherish was suppressed due to wounding, which thankfully I have now healed. And now I just want to provide. Okay, so it's very important to understand the difference between these two mindsets, because these two mindsets could not be much more far apart. And if you happen to find an emasculated man and settle down with him, or if you already have done that, you're going to suffer because of that. And the more that your feminine instinct is online, the more you're going to suffer, because it's going to feel more painful for your needs to be unmet. And one of your needs is to be financially provided for. And also, if a man doesn't have that provider mindset when it comes to finances, he's not likely, probably impossible, to have that mindset to provide for you in other ways. That doesn't mean he's not providing for you in other ways, right? I'm sure he's giving you affection and spending time with you and, helping you in certain ways, supporting you in certain ways, hopefully. But he's not going to have that mindset to do that. Like with my wife, that's my mindset. I feel that responsibility with everything. I want to be able to support her in every way possible. I want to be able to take care of her in every way possible. And I'm proactively doing that. That is what brings me joy. My joy is not so much to receive anything from her other than her gratitude and her respect and her submission. It is to give to her. It is to fill her up. It is to provide that relaxation. It is to provide that ease. You need a man like that. Now, if you are single, you've got the benefit of learning how to do this work, learning how to become more feminine, more open, more vulnerable, learn feminine communication so that you can attract that kind of man from the get-go. And if you do a lot of that work, then it makes the rest of the work a lot easier. If you're already in a relationship where you find, shoot, I don't have that man. Oops. Well, it really depends. If you're married, my advice is always to do everything you possibly can to shift yourself to see if you can inspire that man into shifting. And a lot of the time you can. Sometimes there's going to be nothing that you can do to shift a man to heal. If you are not married, you're in a relationship and you realize, this is not a provider man. Well, my belief is more mixed. I still think it's generally a good idea to at least try to make these shifts in the relationship. But the threshold at which you should hit the eject button and go find a provider masculine man is going to be much lower than marriage. And this is a big part of what we help women do in our academy program, right? Because we work with single women, we work with women in relationships, we work with married women, we work with women who've been separated, and even divorced. We actually have a few relationships that we brought completely back from the dead. And what we see is the power of polarity, the power of masculine and feminine communication. Feminine communication for a woman, masculine communication for men, which we also work with, by the way. The ability of a woman to inspire a man out of his wounding is incredible. And very few women realize this because they're doing the wrong thing, right? Like, you're probably putting in effort to be a better woman, to be the best wife or girlfriend or whatever that you can possibly be. And it's not paying off. And oftentimes it seems to get negative results, like it makes things worse. And it's because you're putting effort into the wrong thing. This isn't your fault. You just haven't been taught how men work. This is why it's so important to understand this mindset from a man whose masculine instinct is online. And I don't mean a man like Andrew Tate, for example, who is one of the most messed up, I'm just going to briefly rant about this, the most unmasculine, obvious controlled opposition, perpetually angry at every single thing and person. It's so obvious in his voice, even though he says some of the same stuff that I say, right? And there's lots of men like this that say similar things to what I say, and part of their masculine instinct may be online. What is often missing is that their heart is not fully online. And that's part of the masculine instinct, right? Like, I want to provide for my wife because I love her, because I genuinely want to make her life easier. It's not about having power over her in any kind of way. And yes, I want respect from her. I want submission from her. All of that kind of stuff that is absolutely important to me. But ultimately, I need to be received. I need to have my gifts received, my care received, my love received. And if I'm not getting that, then I'm not happy, right? That is the masculine instinct. If a man's heart is suppressed, his heart energy is suppressed, he might want similar things. He might kind of talk about some of this stuff, but he also might be into polyamory, or he might, not be truly devotional, and it's more about being superior to his woman. There's lots of men out there, and you got to be careful in the messaging that you're getting. I got a special, it's just people that I'm going to just further rant about this just because it comes up. This is what I do. I like to rant about things when it comes up. I got a special thing about Andrew Tate just because he is such obvious controlled opposition. He is so obviously not masculine in any way, and yet so many people fall for him. Even some women, like I would say most women are at least perceptive enough to know that something is seriously off. A lot of men know, they don't recognize this. And so they, especially younger men who have poor masculine influences, role models, so they end up falling for guys like him and think that, this is how you be masculine, right? Just be kind of angry at the time and actually kind of be a misogynist, not kind of, be a misogynist and be superficial and just care about money and all that stuff. I care about money, right? Money is fantastic. Not so I can have a bunch of cars. I don't care about that. I care about that so that I can provide my wife and my daughter with the comfort for them to be feminine and for the opportunities and for the experiences to enjoy life. It's about having that money to give to those I love. Not just my immediate family, but especially my immediate family. Anyway, so that's another version of Tate is emasculated, but it's a different type of emasculation, right? Like, he might say that he wants to provide, but is it done from the right place? That's very important too. So if you happen to find yourself right now in a relationship with a man who doesn't have that provider instinct fully online, where he doesn't want you to be working, or you happen to find yourself in that experience in the future with, say, a man that you really like, you hit it off, so you get along and lots of attraction and stuff, but that thing is off. The question is, what do you do? So what we teach women in our academy program is to use feminine communication with what is coming up for them. So sharing their feelings, right? Like, what do you feel when you find out like he's leading you to pay in some kind of way? Or that his future plan is for you to be roommates together and you're going to be a working girl. You're going out there and you're working. Well, you share what you're feeling. You ask for help with what you're feeling. I'm not going to go into the specifics, I don't think, on this video, but I have so many videos where I cover the specifics of the feminine communication and exactly what that looks like. So you share that and you see what happens. You see how he responds to that. You are not going to be able to convince a man logically of why he should fully financially provide, especially with the red pill community now indoctrinating men into basically being selfish. It's just not going to happen. If you're going to convince a man that he should be the sole provider, it needs to come from his empathy, his compassion, his inspiration that he feels by you sharing your heart, right? Because if he can feel your pain, your anxiety, your sadness, that is what is naturally inspiring. That's what inspires a man. One of the things that inspires a man to want to step up and fully take care of you. So it's like, oh, I don't want my woman to feel this way. But that's just a beginning, right? Like, we do teach our women students that, but there's so much more to it. It's being inspiring overall. You are embodied in this feminine energy which activates a man's masculine instinct. So it's way more than just communicating one thing. You're activating his masculine instinct to want to provide because he can feel your innocence, your softness, your vulnerability, your respect, your openness, your submissiveness, your receptivity, your radiance. And this activates the masculine instinct. It's the same thing like saying, if you want to activate man's hunger, then take some ice cream cones out and some pizza and some hamburgers and put them all on a plate. And all those smells are going to waft into his nose and he's going to be like, ooh, I'm hungry now. Right? That's what you're doing, but with your feminine energy. You're not doing it for that reason, because that would be manipulation. Right? Of course you want that. Of course you need that from a man, but you need to do this for you. You need to decide, I want to be as feminine as I can possibly be for myself. And then whatever happens because of that, that's what happens. Whether that means losing this man or that future man, whether it means some men or the man that you're with is going to get angry at you or judge you or whatever, you're going to be feminine for you. You are going to be feminine for you. And this, in our academy program, this message can take some time for a woman to really get. Some women get it right away. But if you've been the type of woman that's always kind of people-pleasing, approval-seeking, trying to be enough for a man in some kind of way, trying to be worthy, then the idea of being fully feminine just for you, it's a very radical idea. You can even judge it as selfish or I shouldn't be doing stuff just fully for me. No, that is what the feminine is. It is fully being your most feminine self for you, not to please the man. The man is pleased because you are pleased. The man is pleased because you are pleased. So, as an example, right? My wife, when she is in her feminine energy, she is not doing it so that I feel respected, so that I feel happy, so that my needs are met in any kind of way. That is what the masculine does. That would be what I would do to anticipate my wife's needs, right? Is that I got to be calm, I got to be centered, I got to be directive. I am doing this for her, not to get her approval. Obviously, I'm doing it, part of it for myself as well, because it feels good, but I'm doing it for her to give her this gift of safety, of care, and it's provision, right? It's all provision. A woman doesn't do that. A woman is feminine just for herself. And when she is being feminine for herself, she's feeling great, she's feeling joy, she's feeling radiant, she's feeling open, and the man can feel her, and that is what makes him happy, is because she is happy. It's really that simple. And doesn't make him just happy, it inspires him to be a better man. It inspires him more into the provider role, which is what you need and want. And so we see this shift happen in the academy over time, where at first women tend to come into it more of it depends on the woman, but I want to learn how to communicate. I want to get these outcomes from a man. Totally natural, totally understandable to come in for those reasons. But over time, there is a shift that tends to happen where it's you know what, I am just doing this for me now. I am doing this because it feels so it feels so good to be in my feminine energy, to be this vulnerable, to be this open, to just let go of control. And it's that starts to get the better outcomes from men when you're not trying to get them anymore. Because if you're trying to get them, it's still masculine energy. Might be a feminine costume that you're wearing using masculine energy, but it's masculine energy that doesn't work to inspire a man. The only type of man that is going to be responsive to that is a very deeply emasculated people pleaser, where you're wearing a feminine costume, he's wearing a masculine costume, he is the provider to please you. And which is great that this came up, because I do need to mention this. A lot of men who are providers are not providers. Okay, a lot of men who seem to not want a woman to work are actually just people pleasers, reflecting what you want and not really what they want. You need to be able to discern the difference. You don't want a people pleaser. It's not going to be sustainable, and you're not going to remain attracted to that kind of energy. the more that he is in it. You need a genuine masculine provider. And for that, it's only going to happen by you being in your feminine. For a man to be inspired in that kind of way. For him to not want you to have to go to work. If you have a limiting belief that this is possible, I'm telling you, I see this all the time with women, that have these limiting beliefs that come into the program. It's like, okay, Zach is talking about all this amazing stuff and, see the testimonials and all of this, but like, could this really happen for me? Are these men out there? They are out there. They are absolutely out there. And they are attracted to women who are fully in their feminine. And if you're in a relationship with a man already, I'm telling you, that man is in your man. Even if he's not exhibiting it right now, he is in there. And he needs a feminine woman, a feminine embodied woman to bring that out of him. Now, ideally, he would bring that out of himself all on his own. But you can't control that. You can only control you. You can only control your choices. So you can either break up with that man, which is an option, or you can do the work to see if he's going to shift, if you can inspire that man out of him. And we see a lot of the time in our program that absolutely does happen. Some of the time it doesn't. I will never lie and say that it's 100% guarantee that you can do that, because we cannot control the man. You can only control yourself. But the odds are relatively good. And by the way, on this note, so, if you could have this man right now, like you're in a relationship, or if you're single, if you want to find out what your odds are and kind of why you are stuck, why you are not getting what you want, why you're not inspiring the kind of man that you want or inspiring the kind of man that you want out of your man, then book a call with me. I offer free discovery calls where we will talk all about what's going on in your love life, why you're not getting what you want, what your control patterns are. I'll tell you everything that I see. I will give you some coaching on the call about why this is happening and what you need to do to shift. And then after that, we'll find out if you are right for our Academy program, if we can help you make these shifts. Now, these calls aren't available just for anybody. You have to actually be motivated and serious about getting support if it turns out that our program is the right one for you. I don't know if it will be. We'll find that out on the call. I don't talk to freeloaders, though. I don't talk to people who aren't interested in any kind of way of actually just getting real hands-on support if it turns out that it's the right fit. But if that's you, if you're actually serious about looking for support and you want to find out if working with us makes sense and you want to understand why you're stuck and how to get unstuck using the process that I teach, our polarity process, using feminine energy, using feminine communication, then book a call with me. The way you're going to do that is by opening up the description below this video, click on relationshipyourdreams.com, watch the video on that page. It's a 10-minute video, and then book a call below that. And then we'll get on a call, we'll talk, we'll find out if the Academy is right for you. And then if so, we'll take you by the hand in the program and help you start making all of these shifts. So another important question that comes up around this, and I might do an entirely new video about this at some point, I'm not sure. It's like, what if I want to work, Zach? So because there's going to be two types of women, and we work with both, okay? There's women who are like, I just want to be taken care of. I want to be like, stay at home, do my own kind of thing, do my passions. Some of them are mothers or want to be a mother. I want to be a stay-at-home mother more than anything. I would be happy never working for another, for no days of my life ever again. And that's great if that's what you want. That's fantastic. You can inspire a man to fully take care of you. Like, I don't want my wife ever working for another day out in the world. But then there's going to be other women who really like working. Now, this might change. So one of the things that we experience with women over time in the program is as they soften, as they become more vulnerable, as they become more open, as they access their feminine more, they don't want to work as much, or they don't want to work the same job, and some of them they don't want to work, period. Or they just want to do something at home, like be a stay-at-home mother, which is a form of work, by the way. It's an incredibly difficult and important form of work. So I'm not devaluing that. Just when I'm talking about work, I'm talking about out in the workforce or having your own business. So there's going to be women who want that too. There's going to be women where that changes over time in the program, and then there's going to be other women where they just want to continue working. And that's fine. Like in our academy, we have women who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. We have millionaires. We have women who have their own really successful business, some corporate jobs, professionals like lawyers, doctors, therapists, all of that stuff. And they love their work. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. The question becomes, how is a really masculine man going to feel if you want to continue working? So I'll tell you, me personally, and I'm just being totally honest, I would not be happy if my wife ever wanted to go back to work. I would be totally fine if she wants to do a stay-at-home business. And I'm talking about like when my daughter's older, because we've 100% decided she's going to be taking care of our daughter and homeschooling her when she's young. But say we only have one child, and she gets older, and then my wife gets bored in some kind of way. I don't want her to be, say, a lawyer or going back into the corporate workforce. Not that those jobs are going to exist in 10 years anyway with AI, but let's just say theoretically, there's still lots of options there. I don't want her to do that because that masculinizes her. I want her to be as feminine as she can possibly be. And if she's spending 8 hours or more in the workforce 5 days a week, she's not going to be anywhere close to as feminine as she possibly could be. Now, by the way, this might scare you, me saying this, thinking like, oh, but I have a job right now and I can't, I don't have a man to fully take care of me. Like I'm going to just stay masculinized. Women in our program, they're almost all working right now. Well, actually, there's increasingly less as a lot of them are now being taken care of by a man, but still the majority are still working, and you can still become extremely feminine while working. You can still attract a really healthy masculine man who wants to provide for you while still working. You can still inspire a man to want to fully provide for you while still working. Okay? So don't use this as an excuse and be like, well, I guess I'm screwed then. No, it's just harder. It's harder, it's slower, and you won't be able to get as far as a woman who is being fully financially taken care of. Okay? But do not let that stop you. Your ability to make these shifts is enormous if you choose it. So I wouldn't be happy with that. Other men, I can't speak for every single man, but in general, a man's not going to want a woman to be out and working in the workforce. And there's multiple reasons for that. Like a man doesn't want her to be masculinized. Especially if he can fully provide for her, it's like, what is she really adding? It's just she's becoming more masculinized for no reason and not really adding anything to his life, at least in that respect. Like those are 8 hours of the day that she's not able to add to his life in any kind of way, while he's going out to add to her life financially and also becoming more masculine because of his job. So there's an important difference there. Women have to understand, like, women might say, for example, because I've been told this, well, women should get the choice of whether they want to work or not. Okay. Should men get the choice of whether they want to work or not? Should they just be allowed to stay home and not work? I would say absolutely not. Men should absolutely 100% be working and working towards becoming a sole provider if they're struggling to do that. So if men don't get a choice, should women get a choice, or should they follow their man's lead on that? It's something to think about. With that said, though, masculine, healthy men want their woman to be happy. Like, so this is something that my wife and I have talked about. Like, when our daughter is older, my wife is just going to be bored being at home, kind of doing nothing, right? She's going to need something to remain stimulated. Just washing dishes and cooking and everything, that's not going to be enough for her. Maybe enough for some women, but it's not going to be enough for her. So we would have to talk about, like, what is something that you would really want to do, that you're passionate about, that fills you up, that's not going to masculinize you. Because what is really important to me is that she doesn't become masculinized, but also that she is happy and fulfilled. And it's important, we'll call it a trade-off. It can seem like a trade-off anyway for a woman. It's like the trade-off of having a really masculine man is he's going to have really strong expectations and standards and things that he wants from you. You don't just get to choose to do whatever you want in your life. He does want you to be happy, though. He absolutely does want you to be happy. Because the flip side of this, too, is there's a lot of men who, like, they're controlling, like they have that masculine energy of control, but in a subjugating kind of way. And it's like my way or the highway, and I don't really care if you're happy, and I'm going to lead you with energetic force. And then you end up subjugated. I'm not talking about that. Okay, that's not healthy. That's another form of emasculation. I would not be happy if my wife was not happy. That kind of man might not care. So that's the difference. Healthy masculine men want to financially provide for a woman. They want to be the sole providers for a woman so that she can relax at home, take care of the children, focus on her passions, all of that kind of stuff. They don't want their woman working in the workforce. They want her to be happy as well, though, and want to find solutions where she can truly be happy and thrive, whatever that means. So, for example, I'd be totally fine if she had a stay-at-home business, doing something that she really enjoys, that really fills her up. It's totally different. I'm totally fine with that. Wouldn't be fine with her deciding I want to go into med school. Goodbye. Our relationship goes goodbye at that point, in the sense that she would be so busy that we just have no time for each other. I don't want that. How you liking this video so far? If you're this far into it, I'm guessing you're probably enjoying it. Maybe experiencing a few triggers, maybe not. Maybe just absolutely loving it. Either way, if you are liking it, make sure you give this video a like, and be sure to subscribe to this video. Subscribe to this channel, rather, because this is the kind of stuff I give you. I give it to you from the heart. I share everything that I understand, that I've experienced, that my students have experienced, so that you can start making these shifts, or continue making these shifts as quickly as you can. And I got a lot of videos to go through. You can start binge watching them right after this one. So women who want to work, who want to continue to work, the message is, understand that just like you want a sole provider, you want a provider, you want a man who is working, and you wouldn't feel good if he wasn't, a healthy masculine man is going to want a woman who is not working, not masculinizing herself in some kind of way. Doesn't mean she's not doing anything. It just means there's going out into the workforce and doing something masculine. It's not something that he's going to want her to do. And of course, before I continue, before I really wrap up with what women who don't want to work should be doing and why that's important to them, also understand, just because of our economy today, there's going to be a lot of men who are not sole providers that might want to be, right? And the most important thing is that a man wants to be. Way more important than the man who actually is, but doesn't want to be. He has the provider mindset, and he's just struggling to shift everything externally so that he can be the sole provider. That's a good man. That is a good man if he is dedicated to working towards being better in our economic climate. You got to give a man grace for that. But yeah, so women who don't want to work. So there's women who do want to work, but they also want like a provider man with a provider mindset. And then there's the women who don't want to work. If you don't want to work, you just want to be at home with your children, or just taking care of the home, being a homemaker, or working on a small part-time side business without any pressure, that's great too. And the struggle for those women is, it's like you're really, like, your feminine instinct for that is just so strong, and those women tend to be more feminine in the sense that their capacity for working is like, it tends to be a lot more draining for them. So they really feel this, they really need this. And to not have that sole provider is really tough for them. It's really painful for them. I feel for those women. I feel for you if that is your experience, because you need that masculine man so much. These women tend to, the biggest issue that I see, just as I'm generalizing here, but the biggest issue really tends to be low self-worth. I mean, every issue ultimately stems from low self-worth, but I mean low self-worth in the sense of you are avoiding communicating your needs a lot, avoiding speaking up for yourself, being kind of more on the doormat side of things, tolerating things that you really shouldn't. And then you end up attracting emasculated men because of that. And emasculated behavior from men, selfish behavior. Behavior that's more focused on the man rather than taking care of you. And so what's really going to shift that type of woman is to learn how to speak up for yourself in a feminine way, right? Not a masculine way, and stop tolerating things you really shouldn't be tolerating. Like on my discovery calls, man, I really hear some stories, like some stories of like, I can't believe you're in this situation, or that you have tolerated this situation for so long. You deserve so much better. You should never have to tolerate a man treating you this way. And usually my advice, I mean, unless it's like physically abusive, I'll usually be like, okay, just give it a try. Try the feminine communication and the feminine energy and see if anything shifts. But you got to be willing to flow away from less than you deserve. There's so many women tolerating things that they don't deserve, but they continue to tolerate it anyway because they don't realize on the deepest level how much more they are really worth. To get that provider man, you need to really act as if you are fully worthy. You have to shift your behaviors as if you are fully worthy for you to be able to manifest that kind of devotion. Because a healthy provider man doesn't really want to be with a woman who lacks self-worth. Like, you could appear feminine in many ways, be communicating respectfully, be vulnerable, be soft, all great qualities. But if a man can't feel your worth because you don't feel your worth and you don't know your worth, why would he fill you up, so to speak, financially or otherwise, when he can feel that you are empty? And it's like empty in the sense that like, you're not very valuable because you don't see yourself as very valuable. You have to see how valuable you are first. This is a big part of what I do on these videos. I am telling you all the time, you are worthy of more. You are worthy of being taken care of. Yes, you are absolutely worthy of a man with a provider mindset who wants to fully take care of you. And if you have shame around that idea, if you have guilt around that idea, if you have fear around that idea, that's wounding. That's part of you that you are not fully loving and seeing as fully worthy. Well, I'm going to help you shift that because you are worth that. Assuming, of course, that you want to be adding value to a man's life in a feminine way by being submissive, by being vulnerable, by being soft, by being feminine. Assuming that you're willing to be in your feminine role, which you probably are if you're this far in this video, then of course you are worth that. Of course you are worth that level of provision. You just need to start acting like it. Start shifting. Keep watching these videos. Or, if you are ready to learn about whether it makes sense to get hands-on support by me and my team, if you want to get the world's best support, literally the world's best support, making these shifts, learning how to be vulnerable, respectful, shift into your feminine self-worth, stop tolerating things that you shouldn't be tolerating, finding your voice, letting go of control, fully being with your feelings and being connected with your feelings, I want to see you on a call. And I want to see you on a call soon. How about like right after this video? Book a call with me. Open up the description below this video. Relationship Your Dreams. Click that link. Watch the video. Book the call. I'll see you there. We'll talk all about what's going on in your love life. We'll find out if you are right for the academy. And then we can make a decision whether you should step into the program and start making these shifts. That's it for this one. I'll see those of you who are booking that call. I will see you on that call, and everyone else, keep watching these videos. That's it for this one.